Raymond,
Hey,
so good to meet you in person.
it's an honor and a pleasure to be here in person as well.
Welcome to People in Legal in Netherlands.
In Amsterdam.
I know. How fantastic. What a beautiful place.
And you picked a great day, beautiful weather. Wish we were outside, but
I am blown away. So we've got lots to cover today.
yeah, sure. Lots of things have happened, lots of numbers and financials to talk about, and fears and challenges as well. So yeah, let's get to it.
This is a juicy episode. Very juicy.
Okay, I will try and give you the sauce.
So firstly about you, what are you up to these days? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, okay. Lots happened. I decided to shut down Legal Complex and Sabayo. And weird thing happened after that. People started to reach out and say, "But we maybe don't need the data, but we need you and the data." Business started picking up. Things started going. So yeah, I can't complain. Things are well, but still looking for something that would fit better with me because yeah, I like financial analysis, market analysis. I like doing legal AI stuff. I want to find something that, I can combine both of those roles as well.
And what's the value proposition that you're presenting to your existing clients? Like, what are you doing for them?
Currently, the companies that I work for are either trying to grow really fast, so I'm helping them design their product to boost their product-led growth, and others that are looking for an exit, looking to raise capital as well. Some of them design questions that they have with AI at the moment. It's really complicated to have a chatbot and a research platform, and how do you combine those two? And people are used to using deep research, and now you're having deep research with legal sources. So how do you make the distinction between what is the web and what is, a trusted source? And all of those questions I currently help a couple of, I call them friends.
Brilliant. I'm sure they're getting lots of value.
Trying to deliver value. They're trying to deliver value to the customers, and it depends on who they're serving. Are they serving law firms or lawyers? Or are they serving in-house counsels or companies in general? So it depends on what type of product it is and what their goals are in achieving them.
There has been a lot of things happening in the marketplace. I've seen some big acquisitions.
The main thing with the Felix Clio is that it has put legal tech in a totally different light for outsiders. So now everybody wants to get into the action. Today I posted about Cloudflare, which is this internet infrastructure company. They released a AI bot scraper that technically can stop those AI crawlers from getting to your content.
Wow.
So what does this have to do with legal? Well, they advertised or posted about it in their blog post that if you have legal content, they can just basically put a paywall to those AI bots, and that they need to pay for accessing your legal data.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, even Cloudflare is now a legal tech company, or, capitalizing on the legal tech action at the moment. And the other thing with the legal tech or the Felix Clio acquisition is that not only has it put legal tech companies on the map, like we're really valuable, but also has shown to the insiders as well, like legal tech is one of the most expensive AI products on the market at the moment. Others just pay $20, and lawyers pay a little bit more. And this makes the dynamics behind what is driving the growth within legal, really interesting in general.
I had some really interesting chats with lawyers at the event, the Legal Tech Talk event last week. You know, every opinion under the sun. Some were actually really embracing AI. Some were actually being very, very cautious and worried about AI and the impacts of that, and really, I guess, doubting how much efficiency and results of and the outcomes it would provide.
Yeah, so there are many things to touch upon. First thing is what lawyers have been taught at school, those tasks and jobs mostly will disappear, and we're getting new roles. How equipped are they to tackle those roles? We don't know yet. What we do know is that AI is equipped to tackle a lot of these roles that they used to do. However, AI has some deficiencies. Hallucination is one of them, security is another, and also trying and consistency is another. So if you ask it a question now and you ask it the same question again over a week, you might get a slightly different answer. And in legal work, consistency matters,
Oh, yeah.
right? And the security plays also a big role.
There's been a number of cases where people have actually taken documents to court which have had incorrect information, hallucinations included.
So I have a theory about that, and people say yes, they didn't, double check or vet their work or verify. My theory about it is, I think they did. They just maybe put in their brief one last time in AI for proofreading, and then it came out, exactly the same, except for the citation was, the 5 was a 4 instead of the numbers, and the text didn't match up in the reference. Yeah, and then the judge that looks at the brief can't find the case anymore. I think maybe that was one of the big issues. What I discovered with AI is that it really struggles with combining numbers with text. So if you have citation references that include a number and some text, it may struggle with that. To give an example, if you ask it a legal code XYZ, and it's at number 134, and you change that number to 135 and ask it, is this the same legal code? It will say yes, because it doesn't see the relationship.
Interesting.
As being together. And those are, if you know those problems, those are fixable in post. So after you've outputted it, you can then double check on those.
I have the feeling that some companies feel like they might get increased valuation by saying we have AI inside, or we've got AI included in terms of their product proposition. Am I being skeptical?
So that's the tricky thing. I did come out and say in one of my posts quite some time ago that the companies that were founded pre 2024, those are the legacy companies based on a software as a service model, and they just have to just stick AI on top of what they already have. They will struggle in the future because they're a different product underneath the hood. And the native AI companies, they also, even though they have like fast revenue growth, they also are dependent on the large foundational models improving and sometimes also replacing their capabilities as well. Yeah, legacy companies have big challenges, but also the new wave of companies, the first wave of companies that we see that are just a prompt with a model. If we get prompts, models, and tool calling, which is the second wave, those first companies might also struggle with that part.
Yep.
And then you have a couple of more waves coming into the future.
I've heard this term agentic AI being thrown around a fair bit last week as well. I mean, talk me through it. Like, what's it actually mean for a law firm?
I wrote about agentic AI at the beginning of 2024, but for me, agentic AI is a loaded term because everybody has their own definition. What I try and do is I've figured out or just try to make myself understand what it is by putting it in waves. So the first wave was you have a model and you prompt it and you get an answer. The second wave we're getting is a model, prompt, and some tools to take actions, not just a prompt and an answer, but now a prompt and an action. For instance, file this or put this in my calendar, or look this up on the internet. After that, you will get a third wave, which basically builds the infrastructure to allow those things to happen. Fourth wave will be voice. Fifth wave will be new devices. We're not going to use smartphones in the future anymore. And then you have a sixth and seventh wave, but then we won't go into that too much because it's,
I just clicked on what you said. We're not going to use smartphones anymore. Talk me through that. What do you think?
voice would be, I've looked at voice for a really long time. Yeah, ever since Siri came out, I was fascinated. I'm a big Star Trek fan. But in the legal profession, dictation in the 80s was a really popular thing. Yes, you just had like a dictaphone, you talked through it, and you gave the cassette to your secretary and they typed out the brief or whatever it is you needed. I think that will return to legal. You also see that with translations. One of the biggest fundraisers was DeepL. And one of the things they are focusing on is legal translations because those are a bit complicated and not as easy to do as a normal translation. So yeah, I had this idea of doing legal research in a car, and the only way to do that is hands-free and you're just talking to your phone. Look up this case.
A bit like Lincoln Lawyer. Have you seen the thing on TV, Lincoln Lawyer? It's the movie where the guy's actually doing these cases from his car.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really cool movie actually. Matthew McConaughey was in the movie. Yeah, yeah.
He was a lawyer.
He's a lawyer from his car. I think, is it a Cadillac or something like that? I can't remember the details, but it was pretty cool. But when you said that, I thought to myself, is that they could be in the car just working away, doing research and things.
That was a dream that I had way back when, and
Yeah.
I see that dream becoming a reality now. You see people do vibe coding, just talking through and creating a new application. By the way, that's another interesting dynamic, and that is you can use AI to create AI, and that opens up a whole new world, totally new solutions that people can create themselves. And the question is, how will the legal technology space play into that universe?
I've got a deep fascination for what AI can do, and this is going to sound really weird, but
Talking to me.
yeah, this is super weird. So my mum, she's at a point in life where health's quite bad and things, and I think to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could record every letter, a conversation, all those aspects of her life and decision making and a framework that she saw the world through. And if I had some sort of way of actually keeping that legacy alive. And I think to myself, but then I got thinking, I thought to myself, well, if you could have an AI enabled guardian or power of attorney that was actually powered by decisions that you've got in your life and what you were doing, that would just be amazing, because then you've got agency through this thing. But then could you trust it?
Many things to unpack there. We'll start first with capturing all of the memories and data. The question is, do you want to upload it to the cloud or do you want to store it on premise? And if you store it on premise and you use a cloud model, you're still posting the information to somewhere else. And the second thing is you want to have control over that information, see that it doesn't seep out to other companies or other interests. The second thing is, how do you connect those things to actually what it is you want to achieve? So, for instance, if you want to have all of those memories, all of these interesting legal nuggets that you have to protect either a company or a person, you also need their context and who they are, what is their age, how many employees does this company have, what area are they operating in, is it a car company or not? Now they have totally different regulations than the pharmaceutical companies. All of that context, some of it is on the internet and some of it is internally. You also need to import that. That's why I mentioned the third wave would be that infrastructure to get there. So short answer, yes, it's possible. Long answer, not yet. But if you would ask me at gunpoint, what would you invest in right now? Those infrastructure companies are the most interesting to me. That make that possible.
Interesting. I mean, I think that I think just diving down to one of those topics I talked about, I think all firms have got this incredible ability to actually provide this AI legal being to help us to have agency on some of the decisions when we can't, or help us build a framework in a business, for example, or in a situation where there can't be a decision made.
So I had this idea some time ago called Archangel.
Yep.
And that meant that you take all of the information on the website, take all of the background information about the company, take all of the cases and information that pertains to that specific company, create like this legal profile. And based on that, you can then start monitoring their conversations, internal communications, external communications, and then create a shield around them to protect them from, for instance, not divulging information, not having ethical conflicts. We saw it actually with Elon Musk. He was prohibited of tweeting some time ago. So that was like the shield created around them by lawyers to say, listen, we're looking out for you. Watch out what you say. Another one is internally, you always see that in court cases, there's the smoking gun email that people, Tim Cook, I heard mentioned he said something that came out in a court case and it was really damaging. Creating those mechanisms internally to monitor those conversations and help the legal department, protect the company against itself in certain cases. Those things will become possible if we fix a couple of infrastructural security and hallucination issues, minor problems. But if we get there, it would be super cool. It would be possible.
Could it be predictive? Could it actually predict who is likely to actually, in an organization, who's likely to actually, based on behavior, based on conversations, based on a data set, who's likely to actually commit that internal breach?
Well, prediction is a loaded term. You can calculate. So I'll give you one example. One of the biggest legal tech companies, it's debatable by the way, It's called Palantir. And Palantir started as a concept that from PayPal, they were looking at fraudulent payment transactions, and then they figured out some of those fraudulent payment transactions came from shady organizations, may or may not have been aligned with terrorism or stuff like that. But a light bulb went up and said, hey, listen, based on certain patterns, we can calculate what is dangerous and what is not dangerous. Now, the tricky thing is you always need legal in the loop to figure out. You don't want to play judge and jury on everybody. So you need to build in some kind of legal capabilities to validate and double check if it is what you're looking for is a crime or not, for instance.
Very, very interesting. So I've got a fun question to wrap up, because I actually immensely enjoy talking with you. You've got these incredible insights on what's going on in the marketplace and what's happening in the AI world as well. But I'm going to switch to a fun question. You mentioned Star Trek before. Who's your favorite character and why?
Because there are so many. You have the first Star Trek, and then you have Star Trek Next Generation, and then you have Seven of Nine, Deep Space.
Deep, don't I?
Yeah, honestly, I'll rank them, okay? Number one is Data, of course. He's the robot. And second one is Seven of Nine. I think it was no, that wasn't Deep Space Nine. And Geordi, and just because of his glasses. Those are my favorites. The funny thing about Star Trek was, if you look at one of my logos, Legal Pioneer, it was inspired by Star Trek, almost similar. And the way you were talking to the Star Trek computer, and then you just say computer, and then it did research. We're getting this stuff right now. All of those Star Trek technologies, the tricorder, everything, they're becoming a reality.
Isn't it wonderful? Yeah, I love technology. Raymond, thank you again so much.